This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, where each and every week we take a deep dive into the good, the bad, and the awesome of wrestling video games. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am George Feis, and today we are playing Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars. Is this game going to get a play it forever or a future endeavor?
You're fired!
We also discuss living in a video game world and some new video game updates.
And please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. And don't forget, you can get this episode early and ad-free at patreon.com/GameMarksPod, along with the show notes, Discord access, live recordings, giveaways, and more.
Man, oh man. John, how we doing? How we doing this week?
I am a million times better than I was last week. Still got the cough drop in the mouse. Yeah, okay. Anyway,
sometimes if that's where it has to go.
This episode's called Steamboat Willie. Speaking of, still got the cough drop in. Still hacking up a lung, but I think that's going to happen for quite a bit after this. So whatever. I'm feeling better. Everyone's feeling better. Family's feeling better. So we're
good. Glad to hear it. Let's talk about last week's game. We played Online Pro Wrestling, which was a SmackDown Shut Your Mouth clone. And man, I got to tell you, it's nice to see when we post our reels and our videos online, and we have people going, "Wait, what game is this? How come this looks like a WWE game? Why does this look like a SmackDown game?" Oh yeah, so much love. And it's nice to see like that there are so many people out there who see the game and go, "This looks like something else, but not the thing that I remember it being." Like, what is this?
Our buddy Gakdaw, he was like, "What the hell? I've seen this before, but I haven't seen this before." There was a few people on one of our reels. One person said, "What game is this?" And I wrote GTA 6 because, I mean, the title's in the title. And then another person right under them, "What game is this?" And I just wrote Overwatch. So we'll see if they're able to figure it out, but that they just have to read the title of what the reel is. But kind of on the same, I guess, kind of similar. We were talking a few weeks ago about the AKI love and how there should be some SmackDown love. But one of the biggest love letters to the AKI games coming out is Ultra Pro Wrestling.
Absolutely.
And now they have been announcing what feds are going to be in the game. Now, the Fed, Empire Wrestling Federation, was announced with a nice logo. It's got the E with kind of like a Hasbro-esque looking, like the star design that's on a Hasbro card, which looks really cool. And then there's Mexico, which features a 6-sided ring. That should be very interesting in this game.
So I'm trying to think. Obviously, TNA. Did 5-Star have a 6-sided ring?
No, I believe AAA did.
That's what it is. AAA. I was like, it was one. It was one.
Similar look.
And then there's this, and then are we counting games that have octagons as multi-sided rings? But like,
you could. There's M. Dickey games also.
Yeah, I feel like having 6-sided rings is not,
I'm just wondering, like, the mechanics of the actual game, if it's in a 4-post ring and then you go to a 6-sided ring, how's that going to work? So that's pretty cool that, like, from a programming standpoint, but we won't get into the nerdy stuff.
Anytime you have something that's different, an octagon, 6-sided ring, when it's something other than your standard traditional wrestling match on top of something that's already like inventive gameplay wise, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool, and that's called Lucha Libre Loco, but then there's also Ultra Japan Pro Wrestling. So I like how they're going through kind of like Fire Pro, getting them federations in there. Maybe you could mix and match who goes in what, and I'm very excited for this game, as we have grown to discuss over the past few months, and I'm very eager for it to come out. Now, another game that we spoke about a long time ago. We even have an article up with the creator on our website.
I played it on stream.
that was a thing we did once, was interview people on our website. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We could post it again. UE4 Luchador. That's Unreal Engine 4 Luchador. It's kind of also a love letter to the AKI games. It's a beautiful luchador looking game. And now Bastante Bueno Lucha Libre Prototype version 1.4 is available now, 100% free. This game is not ever going to be sold. There's never going to be a license in it. It's a free to play, kind of just like a passion project.
Yeah,
check it
solo
out.
developer, I believe, as well.
Yeah, check it out at Luchador UE4. It's completely free. If you want a good game, then go for it.
It is. I remember, so the version I played was multiple versions ago, but when I did play it on stream, it was one of those games where it ran and felt and moved so smoothly that I was like, man, I want the next time I play this game to like have it feel like it was an even bigger push forward. And just even from the screenshots in that Twitter post, I can already see that it has come so much farther than the last time I played it. It is definitely a game to keep an eye out for. And one of the games that, like John said, we talked about a while ago, and I'm happy to see that it's still being worked on.
It's absolutely unbelievable. Now, let's get back to Fight Forever.
Let's
Chin
go.
Up Gamers, Tony Storm has arrived in AEW Fight Forever. The Storm is Coming DLC is available on consoles and PC now. Now, I understand that we're not going to beat a dead horse here and talk about the DLC and all that. I understand that this is the gear Tony was in when she teamed with Ruby and Saraya. It shows her with the championship, the champion Tony Storm's in the game. But then the little commercial for it is Timeless Tony Storm. So it's kind of like, okay. I get it, but
It is. It's one of those things, and we've been talking about a lot of it in the Discord about, they said that this was going to be the launch roster of AEW, and there's a lot of people that are missing. I don't know. It's still, I feel like we talked about this. I can't quite put my finger on what is missing. So I played this yesterday, 2 days ago, and played a couple matches. Great. The matches are still insanely fun.
I've been playing it too.
I tried to do a Stadium Stampede 3 times, 2 5-minute queues, and I dropped each time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this is such a bummer because I really want to play that more and get into it. And then I realized that some of the mini games are very frustrating to play.
I will never choose to play a mini game in my life.
I just tried it at the end. I was like, I should really go and do something else and not play this game. And I was just like, let me try one of the mini games. I don't really want to do a whole other match. So I tried Sheeta's.
I couldn't even tell you what it is.
I think it's the baseball one.
Okay.
It's like home run derby, but there's no indication of when you're supposed to hit the ball. So and if you're playing with a computer teammate, you kind of get sandbagged because I guess they're expecting you to do a lot better than the CPU does. So the team that you're going against, second deck home runs every time. And I can't get 3 points.
No. See, that's why I go in, I do a lights out match, a ladder match, something fun, and then I move on to something else. That's kind of the cool part about modern consoles. I'm playing on the Xbox, you're playing on the PC. You could just go in and play one game. It's quick.
It's what easy. I love about this game.
And then just go to something else. Especially the Xbox, I just go out, back to the menu, load up something else. It quick resumes into NHL or whatever, and that's it. You just go on to something else.
But quick resume works on your Xbox? It never works on mine.
Oh, every time.
Oh, so I always have to reconnect to the internet or something.
Oh, yeah.
I have to close the game and reopen it anyway. I'm like,
for online play sometimes, yeah. Also on the AEW games front, the countdown is on. Join the roster of AEW Rise to the Top. Now, this is a new mobile game coming out January 17th. It looks like a disaster. I'm just going to say it how it is. It doesn't look like, I don't know. It looks like one of those old Simpsons or Family Guy games, something like that. Did you used to play the Simpsons mobile game?
No, I do know what you're talking about though.
Oh my God. That was
absolutely know what you're talking about.
Big craze for a while, bigger than Farmville.
Man, Farmville.
Yeah. But this just looks like cool illustrations, but it's just going to end up in the same place, the same graveyard that whatever the other one, Elite GM, is going to end up in.
It just it doesn't feel. It's honestly, it kind of feels a lot like Elite GM version 2, kind of combined with the game that we're playing today. But it's like a booking management kind of simulator. I mean, I'm on the app page right now. The description says, become a part of AEW as you rise to the top on the hottest roster in the wrestling business. Go on tour with Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, House Rules, and weekly special events. All Elite Wrestling Idol Sports experience allows you to unlock all of your favorite wrestlers, upgrade, and send them into battle to fight against classic AEW opponents. Become a part of the feuds as you enjoy custom storylines and championship feuds.
Okay, so maybe it's like an expanded GM, kinda, sorta.
Yeah,
it looks more like a card game. I don't know. Either way, I signed up. So
yeah, I did as well. When we first talked about it months ago. So we'll see what happens. But listen, it's an interesting game. Depending on how the life of this game goes, we may have to break the rules with it and play it before.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Might have to do that. In other news, this is big. Virtual Basement has signed Hip Hop Gamer to their roster. Anyway, George, I think it's time we're going to take that deep dive. We're going to put on those nostalgia goggles, and we're going to dive deep first into Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars.
Oh, boy, I'm not ready for this. Guys, if you want your beard to be soft and smell great, then you need Mad Cat Beard Care. Their products are all natural and made to order with vitamins and natural oils to moisturize your skin and to help make your beard healthy and strong.
Our exclusive scent, Play It Forever, is a blood orange, black clove, and vanilla scented beard balm or beard oil that can make your beard have a rich but not overpowering scent. Plus, a portion from their sales go towards finding care for stray cats, covering their medical bills and finding them safe places and forever homes.
Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15% when you place an order over at madcatbeardcare.com. That's 15% off with code GameMarks. And remember, the Mad Cat makes a happy beard. All right. Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars. The deep dive is brought to you by our friends over at Mad Cat Beard Oil, madcatbeardcare.com. Use code GameMarks to save yourself 15% when you order our scent. Play it forever over at madcatbeardcare.com. Here we go. Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars, released November of 1989 for the Commodore 64, published by Mindscape, developed by Beam Software and other games in the wrestling universe in 1989. You've got WCW Wrestling for the NES, WWF WrestleMania for the NES, WWF Superstars in your arcades, and Fire Pro Wrestling Combination Tag for the PC. This game is interesting. I feel like the Commodore 64 and really just every kind of floppy disk based game just puts me back in a mindset. It's, it is the late 80s, early 90s, and the only game that I want to play is Pitfall.
You weren't playing anything in the 80s.
What do you mean?
You were playing floppy disk games in the 80s.
Not well.
No chance in hell. What year were you born?
86.
Okay, you were not 4 years old playing on a floppy disk on a Commodore.
Like I said, I maybe I wasn't playing, but I have
Okay.
I have memories of sitting in front of a television watching Pitfall. So maybe I wasn't playing, but I definitely had something that I was, it's like if you gave your daughter a controller and she sat in front of the computer and you just she was just smacking on the controller and she's thinking that she's playing.
She does that now.
Yeah.
She's
so
like, oh, what's this? I want this.
In all honesty, that's probably what was happening. But in my brain, I was playing Pitfall and doing spectacular.
There was one person who had a computer in 1989, and it was Jerry Seinfeld in his apartment. Now, let's read the back of the box here, because this is a fun one. This is a long one. This is going to tell you everything, pretty much everything you need to know about this game. And I would read it in Sergeant Slaughter's voice if I wasn't about to hack up a lung.
I was saying now is probably the best time for you to do it because your voice is so gravelly.
No way. Sergeant Slaughter wants you, but only if you've got the guts to wrestle the meanest, toughest, ugliest wrestlers in town and the street smarts to be a wheelin' dealin' wrestling manager. March into the ring and try all of the Sarge's favorite moves like a killer KO punch, a brutal body slam, or a ferocious flying pin. How many times have you used that one? You can even throw your opponent over the ropes and fight outside the ring with a really quick 10 count. Fight the ugly mugs in the league one by one and work your way through the ranks. Win, and you'll pick up a little combat pay and close ranks on a championship payoff. Lose, and you're likely to get Sergeant Slaughter's dishonorable discharge. Outside the ring, change roles and become a cunning worldwide manager. Bid for the best wrestlers you can afford in Sergeant Slaughter's auction house, then take him to one of the wrestling joints in town. If he's green, you'll have to start him off in a sleazy gym. If and when he's good enough, he'll be a headliner at the high-class main arena for the championship. Sergeant Slaughter wants you to be all you can be in this complete pro wrestling simulation.
I am so surprised that they went through that whole thing and there was not one maggot. There was not one, like, listen up. Like, also, kudos. You nailed that.
When did he start saying that? That's what
I don't know, but like I would expect something like listen up, or
maybe he started saying it after this.
Maybe it is.
1989 is pretty young. You know, I actually, like, I was looking stuff up on Sergeant Slaughter today. It's a guy I've met. It's a guy I've been on a show with. I was like, so is he actually in the Army? The answer is no. He's actually an anti-war advocate, which gives him a lot of flack, because if you meet him, he'll tell you his rank. He'll tell you everything about the Army that he never was in.
Wow.
Willingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
It's a conversation for another day. But this game, like John said, they paint a really nice picture here. But really what this is, it's a management simulator. It's a management simulator combined with very simplistic in-ring gameplay. It's for the Commodore 64. There's joystick and 2 buttons, maybe 1 button. There's not a crazy amount of controls to learn, but the game starts off. You get that little lovely splash title screen that is very reminiscent of the box art itself, which we'll talk about a little later. And you are immediately met with 5 choices of who you want to, I guess. Now, this is the question. Are you the manager, or are you the wrestler, or are you both? I guess you're both, because you bid, but you pick who you want to start as. There are 5 managers that you can pick from. You've got, we'll just go through them now because the roster and the manager list is not very long. You've got Abdul Makesh, Big John, Dolores, Fast Ed, and Lucky. And you can just pick them from the main menu screen or from the manager screen. And then you're immediately brought to the auction house where you bid on Crusher was who we got. I don't know if it randomly generates, or you're always Crusher, or if you wait, maybe you can. So we lost our first bid, and then it reloaded with Crusher again. So I guess you always are Crusher.
I think there's a way to pick who you want. I just don't think we were given that option.
Or maybe I just didn't hit a different button to try to change it. I was just like, sure, Crusher.
Yeah, I think
it's very, very possible.
Because it shows the 5 managers on the bottom, and it's so messed up, but you bid on a human being, and there's like an auctioneer, and you give them money, and that's it.
That's its own whole can of worms. That is, we're not getting into that. But
it's pretty crazy, though, the graphics on this, because you start in like an old looking, Gotham-y, Grand Theft Auto looking.
It is very Gotham-y.
Yeah, like old town, like city landscape, and you pick where you want to go from there. Like there's auction house, there's wrestling, there's fights, and like it says, like you go through either the smaller gyms or there's a coliseum in the background you could work your way to. But the only thing is, everything's so slow.
And it's Commodore 64, so I'm trying not to hold the loading times against the game, but
our job is to tell you if it holds up or not.
Yeah, the loading times are. I will say this though, I scrolled down a little bit in our notes, which if you're part of our Patreon, you can do as you listen along to the podcast. So I'm looking in the graphics, and I'm noticing something now that I didn't notice during the playthrough. The cityscape, the city that is very Gotham-esque. I didn't notice that they've put so much detail into the road that it's actually wet and reflecting the street signs and the lights from the buildings. What an insane detail in this 8-bit graphic style game.
For 1989, I guess, yeah.
Unreal detail.
The graphics honestly weren't bad. They were something you would see, I guess, on like an NES. But it's a Commodore 64, so you get more colors.
Sergeant Slaughter in that title screen does not look like Sergeant Slaughter. But
no, we'll get to the art style.
Actually, kind of looks like one of our friends.
Oh, I'm very interested to know who you're talking about.
We'll talk a little bit about that later.
Let's take a little break ski here, and then we're going to come back, talk about the cover art, and talk about all the artwork here.
All right. Well, we got to do one more thing.
All right. What?
You got to take us through the roster.
Oh, okay. So the roster here, you have Bruno, Irox-san, Crusha, Mr. Jazz, Slim, Spike, Swoop, The Tank, and Tex. And they're just all generic looking fellas. Yeah. Now, if we're going to talk about the cover here, there's Sergeant Slaughter, obviously front and center. But behind him, it actually does look like that's Crusha right there.
And that dude's got an axe.
Crusha, and I think that was Tex. Tex or the Tank, one of those, I think.
The dude's got an axe, though. Why does he have an axe?
I don't know. Now, Mindscape Games. That's who makes the new Disney game, isn't it?
They make a lot of stuff.
Lego Island, Paperboy.
Yeah, I think I remember them from Lego Island.
I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, that they do Disney Dreamlight Valley as well.
Oh.
Which is a new, very popular game.
Let's see.
The logo, to me, looks like... I remember that logo from back in the day.
I don't think that's true, because Mindscape seems to have stopped making games.
Well, then why am I on the website for Mindscape Games and it says it has been successfully developing, publishing, distributing since the 80s in family gaming? Maybe it's a different Mindscape.
Maybe it's a different Mindscape. Because the one that I'm looking at says that they stopped making games in 2008.
I don't know. I guess there's two different Mindscapes. Maybe. This one also created the Fortnite Transformers pack.
Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely not the what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that'd be weird if there's two different. But anyway, that Mindscape, the 3 M's, like I remember seeing that on games growing up.
Oh yeah,
but I do want to say this image that we're looking at right here is actually a photograph sent to me from friend of the show, great friend of the show. It's this guy right here. Smart Mark Sterling.
Hey, there he is.
Look at that mug. He owns this game, mint still in the wrapper. It's not. The corners are a little bit to be desired. But I asked for pictures. He sent pictures of the front and back and a few other minor, zoomed in, detailed photos.
Marky's got this sealed. That's
sealed.
It's wild.
It's actually not hard I mean, it's not easy to get either. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But I mean, the cover's pretty cool for what it was. It's funny to me what this looks like and what it actually is, because it's a big box. Like, it almost looks like a VHS tape.
Because you just got to fit a giant floppy disk in there.
But it's only a floppy disk. Like,
yeah, I guess if you think about it, it's really wide, but it's like paper thin.
Like, floppy disks used to just come in like that little sleeve.
Little paper sleeve, yeah.
Which also, as you see down below, is what it comes in here. But within this, I'm sure there's also a book in there. There's a bunch of other stuff.
Which I guess, did they just no, it was different sleeves. I could see from the picture. I was going to say, it's funny how they used paper sleeves for floppy disks, and then eventually it was like paper sleeves for like every indie band that wanted you to listen to their mixtape. Also had your local band with a mixtape, and definitely not me and John.
No, but the cover's cool. Sergeant Slaughter's Matt Wars. It's got the like army, I guess, what do you call that? Like a patch with Sergeant Slaughter in it, and in the ring there's two guys fighting. One of them has an axe, like George said before. The back is that long ass summary I read earlier on, but then there's three.
John, guess what patch it is? Guess what the military patch is?
What
rank is the patch, John?
I don't know. Sergeant?
Yes, thank you.
The back has 3 screenshots. It shows the auction center, and then it shows the ring, and then it shows that nice city landscape we were talking about before. So pretty cool. Otherwise, the floppy disk just kind of has an American flag type design where it just has the copyright info and some stuff. And there you go. Sergeant Slaughter's Matt Wars. But we wanted to talk about, I know who you're thinking of in the graphics here.
Who do you think it is?
That's Captain Joe Shoes right there.
That is Captain Joe Shoes. Put a Hawaiian shirt on that bad boy. That is shoes through and through.
Okay, so the intro, what looks like, I guess, like on the main loading screen, it looks like the cover of the game, but it's digitized, and it looks like Captain Joe Shoes with the 2 wrestlers.
It's so funny. It really.
Now that you say it,
I knew.
Actually, look, I got him right here. There, you can do your comparison.
Uncanny.
That's
uncanny.
Funny.
I'm actually going to send him a picture of this right now.
I was thinking of it. Pretty cool. Then once you load in, you get this screen where it shows the managers to choose from, and they're all, of course, looking like what you would think a wrestling manager from the 80s would look like, with the suit, with the pipe, looking very shady. Which we didn't talk about this, within the game, you could actually fix a fight and make a wager with your opponent where they'll just throw the fight and you'll just get the money for it. So other than placing bets before each match, you go in there,
fix a match.
You could fix the fight, like Don King's running the show.
And everyone talks like this is like Dick Tracy or something. Like it's like an old school, like everyone talks like it's an old school mobster movie.
Yeah, like they're all smoking a cigarette like in a back alley, like, hey, you want to throw the fight? I got 4 to 1.
See, I was thinking they're more like they're doing the I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely. At least majority of them are. But then you go to like your kind of bouts page. It shows the match card and tells you the matches for the night, the order.
We got to talk about the glaring issue with that screen, though.
What, that the first guy doesn't have an opponent?
No, not even that.
Oh.
Every time that it goes through the match, or if you leave the screen where it says fight, bet, rank, fix, every time you leave that screen and come back, it has to go boop, 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 and load every single person's photograph. There should be 8 pictures of the people on the screen. For some reason, whoever is fighting on that first card slot doesn't have an opponent. I guess that's maybe the champion that you're working up to fight against.
Yeah, that could be it. And also that like left menu bar kind of covers that part too.
Yeah. But every time you leave that screen and come back, it's got to load each single step of that every time. Boop, picture. Yeah. Boop, picture.
Every single load time in here is really rough.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with the game as a whole.
There's a bunch. Now, I talk about the crowd every week, how nice or bad the crowd is. Oh, this is going to be an interesting one. I think the ring itself is actually really nice looking. I just don't understand why there's like cracks in it and it looks like it's made out of wood and stone, all that. The wrestlers themselves look great. The crowd is made of bleachers. Now, I'll go left to right here. There's a man sleeping with a newspaper over his face. There's a couple who look like Danny and Sandy from Grease making out. And then there's just a guy really close to them, like creepily close to them. That looks like Michael Jackson.
And from the other screenshots that I've seen, the ring doesn't really ever seem to change.
Which is weird because there's wrestling, there's Wrestle World, there's Tony's Bar. Like there's a few places you could go. The Coliseum. I guess they're just not able to program this then.
I would say Commodore 64.
We could be wrong too. We didn't really get very far because it's very hard to
I'll
play.
say this. It's a hard game.
I've also seen a lot of praise for it. I've seen both sides. Like a lot of the review sites I read today were either saying how good of a game it is because there is all this stuff. There's all these aspects. People love grinding like GM type games and all that.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it was like us, like, oh, the load times are too much. There's not enough to do. The wrestling part of it sucks.
You think this may be one of those games that's got a lot of people wearing nostalgia goggles?
Maybe. I don't. You just have to know what it like. You can't play it expecting like a quick updated game. You play it knowing it's from 1989 and you're going to be there a while.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of Japanese games we played like this. There was the one with the cards with the girls on them. Do you remember that one?
It's the one that I always think is Cutie Suzuki, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's,
that one was also similar. There's a few like this, and I guess that was a way with limitations on the consoles to like add more to the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the name of that game was.
I couldn't tell you. We've played this is episode 230. We've played a lot of games.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got a fun one next week. But did you know? Did you know this game requires a Commodore 64 joystick in order to play?
Did you know Sergeant Slaughter does not actually appear as a character in the game? He does appear as an occasional referee and to tell you that you've done a real bad job when you've lost a match.
This game is on eBay for $125 sealed, $189 autographed, and Steiner Sports has it autographed for $218.
This has got to be a cool thing to have.
There's only 2 of them on eBay right now. The sealed
That's a
one and the
cool
autographed
thing,
one.
though.
It is, but at the same time, like, I mean, neither of us are like Sergeant Slaughter completists or wrestling.
No, but if this is a game that you grew up on, like, there's not like, it's not like it's Hogan.
Yeah.
Like, there's not like if Sergeant Slaughter is your guy, to have, Sergeant Slaughter be the title character of a game, and then unfortunately not actually really appear as a character in the game, but to have it be, he's, sealed cover or whatever, you get that sign. That's a cool collectible to have.
Now I'm thinking it was Thunder Pro Wrestling Retsuden that was supposed to be Jesse the Body Ventura Wrestling Superstars.
Yes.
It never came out. That was in 92. So really they were just trying to tack a license of someone on these games to give them some notoriety.
I feel like that was always the big thing, is that whoever was a notable name in wrestling, they were just like, hey, we're going to throw your name on this.
Want a game, but you're not actually in it? Yes, Slaughter only appears after the matches or before the matches to tell you either did good or bad and give you like a rundown of the card. And apparently he comes in as a referee at certain points.
Oh.
So, I don't know. Maybe he's like Mario and Punch Out. He just comes in and out of the screen.
Just comes in,
I could strangely picture it.
Leaves.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into some...
I figured out the game.
Yeah. What is it?
Is it Super Wrestling Angels?
Super? Let's see.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, that's it. I think I played it forever. It was actually kind of fun.
I went into our notes and I just searched cards, and it was like one of the third games that came up.
Yeah, it was early on, but that was actually a fun game, I think.
Episode 72. Wow.
But all right, are you ready to sit back and relax a bit? It's time for some ratings and reviews, some R&R.
A long one or a short one?
It's a very short one. I have the game FAQ user ratings pulled up. It's 1989. There was no all these publications that are out now. I don't think IGN was rating this game. It's got a 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is considered good. It's got 3 out of 5 for difficulty, and hours played is about half a notch, which is a total of 3 hours, so not very long. I mean, that sounds like a couple load screens to me.
Yeah, well, I feel like this is one of those games where, like I said, if this is the game that you grew up on, it's a game that you've got fond memories of playing, if this is what video gaming was to you, if this was the only like wrestling style game that you had like access to, I'm sure that people ate this up. To compare this to something now is like, it's ridiculous to compare it to today's wrestling games.
Yeah, you really can't. I would compare it to AEW Elite GM. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's time we should get into the more important rating of them all, and that's our rating, because it is, unfortunately, time to rate the game.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash. 3, 2, 1 it?
I don't know. Do we even have to? 3, 2, 1.
Play it forever. Oh, sorry. No.
Future endeavor. Big future endeavor.
Future endeavor.
You're fired!
Do you want to go first? Take us through. What's
I think I would have definitely enjoyed it more if it wasn't for the load times. And it's hard to pull yourself out of it and see it for what it is, because I'm sure in the 80s and 90s it was a fun game because it has a lot to it and there's a lot you can do. You know, there's the longevity. There's more. It's on a floppy disk. It's not on like an NES cartridge, so there's a little bit more you can do with it. I don't know. I think I would have enjoyed it more then, but now it's pretty brutal.
I think that is the best critique. It is a game that very much shows its age.
Yeah.
Very pretty game. The controls are simple enough, but it almost kind of works at a detriment to it, where it's like almost too simple. There's a lot to like in the game itself, in the sense of like, it's, you know, the ring looks cool and like the environments are cool and like all of like the pixel art is really cool. And considering that this was a DOS game on the Commodore, like that's neat. And the controls are simple, but like I said, I think this is also kind of what you're saying too, is that it's a game that very quickly shows its age once you really get into the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah. Big ol' double fuge. First one of the new year. Like we said last week with the double piff.
There we go.
But man, love to hear what other people think. If they've played the game, if you've seen the game, let us know.
Yeah, would love to hear that. And you could do that on all forms of social media at Game Marks Pod. But with that, John, should we head on over to this week's Softlock?
Let's do it.
All right, the Softlock brought to you by our friends at W. Use code GameMarksPod for 10% off at WGG.
Some jitterless energy for you.
There you go. Softlock is a weekly segment where a Megamark from our Patreon asks us a question, gives us a topic to debate. It is a question of the week with a fancy name. This week comes from a man that was in the chat with us, but has seemed to have now left. Mr. Will Fubsy, the bagel boy himself. Will McDonough would like to know, if you were transformed into a jelly bean, what flavor of jelly bean would you be? And then his follow-up question is, if you could be transported into one video game universe for 24 hours, which one are you picking? Which I think that we've
definitely
kind of had a question like this before, but
so it's good to revisit.
Yeah, and I'm going to try not to say Pokemon, because I think I said Pokemon last time. Pokemon.
So what kind of jelly bean would you be?
I don't know. You jelly bean guy?
I like a good Jelly Belly, like that.
I'll say, are we going Jelly Belly or like traditional, like generic unlabeled pack? That's like
unlabeled pack. I will only eat the green or the pink ones.
I was gonna say the purple ones. Like, give me grape.
Oh, no.
Or if there's like a lime jelly bean, is it green lime or is green?
I would think green would be
green
lime,
apple.
right?
Yeah,
We're not too advanced with green apple in the basic pack.
I don't know. Skittles changed from lime to green apple.
Did you hear Skittles are like outlawed in California because they're toxic and will kill you? But like everywhere else, they're just like, yeah, whatever.
I did not.
Like other countries like completely ban them. And California is the first one to like ban them in America. I could be completely speaking out of my ass right now, but I heard that I think on like Office
really?
Ladies or something.
Wow, Skittles are that bad for you?
Yeah, they're horrible. Like
Wow.
the worst thing you could eat. Don't eat Skittles. I've hated Skittles for years, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah. UCLA Health, what you need to know about the California Skittles ban.
See?
That's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Fuck Skittles.
Oh, so it's not a ban on Skittles. It's a ban on 5 ingredients that are in Skittles.
Okay, yeah.
Which, again...
That's a lot of ingredients.
Oh, yeah, but not necessarily on Skittles themselves. Just...
Well, they got some retooling to do.
Yeah. All right. So what jelly? You said you're going to go green?
Go Jelly Belly Dr. Pepper.
You son of a bitch.
Is that where you're going to go?
Oh, dude, that's like the number. That is the
one.
King of the hill. Number one greatest jelly bean ever.
Is the worst one popcorn?
Buttered popcorn. Yeah, it's bad.
Horrible.
I love Jelly Bellies, man.
We still have one from Easter, like the big Costco size one.
You're going to have that. Like, I need like a Skittles bag of Jelly Belly. That's an appropriate amount of Jelly Bellies. Like, I don't need a mason jar or like a small piggy bank full of. I feel like this is the only size I ever see Jelly Bellies in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Margarita's close second though.
Weird question. He's been asking this for like a year, so I figured I'd pick it.
Finally did it. Short and sweet. What video game world are you picking in? Picking to live in.
It's hard because every world in a video game is bad. Like you don't want to live in. We do live in. We live in Vice City or Liberty City, whatever it is. I don't know. That's tough. Like maybe.
Like it's got to be a problem that's like if it's something like, oh, you're going to be put into this world and you got to like something's got to be fixed. Like it's got to be something where the stakes are low.
Pokemon's a really good one though.
Oh yeah. Well, because I don't want to be the trainer that like goes to save the world and fights like the like crazy legendary like. No, but I want to be
gym or two.
Yeah, or not even that. Just let me be a trainer on Route 6. Like I got there's me and my Onyx hanging out. Like,
yeah, it's hard to beat that. Maybe like
because it's so nice.
Maybe like Yoshi's Island or something. It looks
yeah,
nice.
Or like a
peaceful.
Like a racing game, you want to be like in like Need for Speed Underground or like Midnight Club, where it's just like you just like have a car to fix up and you race and that's it.
There's no nice games. Like there's just no nice games.
There's always stakes because I guess that's what makes a game.
Yeah.
Journey. You ever play Journey?
No.
Oh man. So Journey is this game where it's essentially you have to go from point A to point B, but you like fly and soar and you have this like scarf around you that like you can use to like traverse the world. But if you're playing online, I want to say it's a PS3 game, but at any point, if anyone else happens to be playing the game within a certain feet of you on their console, they appear and you see them like flying through their world. Like it's always on like, and it's just like a very peaceful, relaxing game to play. And cool. There's like bad guys to avoid, but like it's nothing where it's like, oh no, the stakes are really high. It's just like a very peaceful game.
Maybe I'd say Lego Fortnite. Speaking of peaceful games,
that's a good one.
Just build stuff.
What about Lego Island?
No, I mean there was the evil bank robber dude that got out of the jail by using Pepper's Pizza to.
You want to live in The Sims?
We do. Like we do. We literally do. Like, I'm gonna go to work now. Like, I'm gonna have a baby. Like I already did that. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna say.
I guess no one's gonna.
We say Lego Fortnite.
Yeah, Lego Fortnite's a good one.
Yeah.
What does Lego Johnny Clash look like?
No.
Well, I guess I know what I'm doing for your Christmas card this year. Your birthday card, your birthday card.
They don't have noses, so there go my features. But okay. Anyway,
Beard, glasses, backwards hat.
let us know what kind of jelly bean you would like to be and what kind of game,
That's
you
it.
would like to be transformed into for 24 hours. George, do you want to know what we're playing next week?
I am very excited to know what we're playing next week.
So we've played number 1, but now we need to play, I guess, number 2 or technically number 1.5.
1A. Yeah, it's 1A, 1B.
We're playing King of Colosseum Green.
Ooh, okay. So this is the King of Colosseum for the Xbox.
You keep saying that. They're both the same. They're not for different consoles.
Then what's the difference?
It's a different roster. This one
Different
came out
rosters.
later. Yeah.
That's what it is. I was saying, I know that there's difference. For some reason, I think it's there was a game that had different colored, or maybe it's like one of the SmackDown's games, had different colored versions for different consoles.
Soul Calibur.
So,
Anyway,
yes.
King of Colosseum Green, we will be playing it. It's going to be awesome. It's a very fun game. And I'm ready to move on. So then we could move on to King of Colosseum 2 in the near future.
Oh yeah, there's some. I might sneak in one of the games that I've been waiting to play in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a fun one. YouTube.com/GameMarksPodcast for our weekly playthrough videos, exclusive content, and more. You can watch all the playthroughs there of this week's and every other week's game. GameMarksPod.com/shop for our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. That's where you can get all of our shirts. John's got a shirt cooking. I also have.
You can just stop saying it at this point. When it comes, it comes.
When it comes, it comes. All right. Patreon.com/GameMarksPod for early and ad-free access to this show notes, access to the live recordings. You could be in the chat with us right now as we record this episode. And please make sure to follow on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. That was a good one.
Good reverb.
Oh, yeah. And please make sure to leave us a rating and a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. Really does help John and I out. And if you have a product or service that you'd like to advertise on this podcast, please reach out to us at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. That is it, John. That's the whole episode. Whenever you're ready, do that thing.
Game over, maggots.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.